Why your remote team doesn't trust you and how to fix it in 30 days. How you guys doing? I'm Dr. Obed Magny. Welcome to my YouTube Accelerator course. I'm here to talk to you guys about, especially for those of you guys who work in the leadership realm when it comes to remote teams. I'm going to share some tips with you guys to help you be very, very successful. Remember, it doesn't matter if we're talking about a basketball team or football team, people who you can see across the way or whatever it is. If you're leading remote teams, the principles generally do not change. But there are some workarounds, so we're going to talk about that today. So we all know that trust is the foundation of effective remote teams. Yet, did you know that 54% of remote employees doubt their leaders' transparency, according to a Gallup poll? So, like I said, we're going to talk about in this presentation, real quick, how to fix that and get it done in just 30 days. All right, so the invisible crisis, trust erosion in remote teams. Why do remote work, or why does remote work accelerate trust decline? Well, the physical proximity. You can't see and talk to someone. We've all heard the expression about the water cooler conversations that take place, right? So, you and a coworker, you guys are walking around, you guys talking about, hey, you know what, did you hear the latest news on this or the latest news on that? Well, when you're working remotely, you don't have that. So that physical proximity is just not there. So remote work creates that fertile ground for assumptions and misinterpretations. And there's that void there. And what do you do with voids? Well, you kind of tend to fill them in with some things that may or may not be true. So we want to avoid filling in those gaps with misinformation. What's another reason why trust erodes in remote teams? The invisible crisis impacts productivity, innovation, and retention. And when you have a disengaged remote workforce, the overwhelming majority of them will likely seek new positions within 12 months. And so we don't want issues of retention, coming up if you're leading a remote team. Okay. Now, the lack of visibility, like we just talked about, you miss that transparency from seeing other people in action, especially the leaders. You don't see them in action. So you kind of have this idea in your head like, hey, I wonder what so-and-so is like, or I wonder if, they believe in this or if they believe in that. You don't see it, you don't hear it, you can't touch it, it's not tangible, you can't, really form your own, opinion about it. So you've got the inconsistent communication. How many of you, and Lord knows I'm guilty of this, okay? So I'm falling on the sword on this, right? How many times have you sent a text message or an email, or you've received a text message or an email, and you're kind of like, did they just snap at me? Are they angry? Are they upset? Are they really I don't understand. That's major with remote teams when it comes to miscommunication. So, inconsistent communication. Again, I keep sounding like a broken record. This is a major, major driver when it comes to leading remote teams. Those who tend to fix this particular problem do much better than those who just don't address it at all. All right. Results only pressure. So overemphasis on deliverables without acknowledging effort and process leads to the transactional relationships and burnout. One thing that I'm very, very big on is transformational leadership. In the next slides, or the next few slides I'm going to show you guys real quick, are going to show the transformative part, or how do you turn this process into a transformative part of solving that remote trust issue, all right? Or the issues with trust in remote teams. All right, we're going to talk about the 3x3 trust framework real quick. And just so you guys know, this ain't going to be a long YouTube video. I'm just kind of giving you guys the bullet points of how to solve this problem. So if you're looking for a much longer presentation, there will be one forthcoming. I'm going to leave a link in the bio for you guys to visit my digital store. for those who want to purchase or get access to some of my online courses. All right. So the 3x3 trust framework. So you want to rebuild trust through consistent, intentional practices through 3 time horizons. All right. Each practice addresses a specific trust barrier and builds upon others. Again, these are intentional. These can't be laissez-faire-ish, or they can't be approached in a way that's just kind of like, I'm just going through the motions. All right. First thing, you're going to do 3 daily actions. All right. Micro validation, an email or text message, something in the digital form of, hey, I saw your update. Great insight on that client approach. This could be done with a phone call too, so it doesn't have to just be typewritten. All right. You want to make sure you're doing these daily actions regularly. That's the point. Daily. All right. Virtual door opens, 15-minute, no agenda availability slot. So basically, everybody talks about how they have an open door policy. If you're leading a remote team, make sure you have a virtual open door policy or time slot where people are like, okay, I know between this time and this time, I can reach out to, my supervisor or my boss or the leader of this team, where we could just talk about anything related to work, maybe something that's not related to work. Okay. Make sure that you're putting out shared priorities, okay? Be transparent about your focus for the day. Hey, you know what? Today the focus is X, okay? Make sure you're conveying that and you're very, very clear about that. Here are 3 weekly rituals that you should be doing or you must do every week, all right? The win and worry check-ins. Everybody knows about the win and worry check-ins. Hey, tell me about a win that you had today or a win you had this week. Tell me about, hey, something that's on the horizon that we should be aware of, though, or we should be concerned about. Okay? You got to leave space for celebration and vulnerability. All right? You got to be transparent with the leader updates. You got to share your failures alongside successes. I'm going to tell you guys something. In a previous career, I was a police officer. I was a sergeant. I was never, ever, ever shy about my shortcomings. I was never shy about that. I've worked with leaders, managers in the private and the public sector, those who are revered, those who are looked up to, the leaders who their reputation stepped into the room 2 hours before they walked in. They were always, always vulnerable. They always shared their failures or their areas of needs improvement or something that they could have done better. They showed that they were not perfect. Okay, so make sure you guys are sharing your failures. All right, rotating spotlight. Each team member leads a portion of meetings. All right, we talked about that trust factor. Make sure there's somebody on your team that is leading a meeting. All right, so make sure everybody has some portion of, hey, you're going to take care of this part of the meeting. When we talk about X, so and so, we're going to expect you to, lead that part of the meeting, and so on. Third, monthly habits. Here's what you need to be doing. You need to co-create team norms. So you got to revisit and refine working agreements, whatever those are, okay? You're going to have virtual walk and talks, non-work one-on-one conversations. I know it sounds kind of hard, right? Because again, in the physical world, it's easy to do a walk and talk. Hey, John, let's go for a walk real quick. I want to talk to you about something real quick. Or something like that. So make sure that you have your virtual walk and talks. This could be done, again, at any time during the week, on the weekends, just find a time that's convenient for everyone. All right. Anonymous trust pulse surveys. Make sure you're measuring progress and identifying those gaps. All right. If you don't know the mood and the sentiment of your team, there could be something detrimental going on and you're the last person to find out and you don't want to be that person, all right? So implementing your 30-day trust building plan, all right? So here's some key success factors. Consistency matters more than perfection. You are going to screw this up as you do this for the first time. I'm going to tell you right now, you're going to screw it up, you're going to screw it up, you're going to screw it up. It's okay. Consistency matters more than perfection. All right. Whenever you're starting anything, just be consistent with it. You'll get better at it the more you do it. Adapt practices to your team's unique needs. Okay. And lead with vulnerability, like I just mentioned before, to invite psychological safety. Because if the leader is being vulnerable and is showing that it's okay to be vulnerable, you'll have other people on your team who feel vulnerable, who will feel comfortable and safe in sharing their truths with you. Okay, and that's the type of team environment you want. All right, make sure you're measuring progress through feedback and observable behaviors. Again, if you're not measuring it, it's not important to you, and you don't know if you're successful or not, or you don't even know if you're making progress or not, or if what you're doing is effective or not. All right. So days 1 through 10, establish those daily actions. All right, we talked about those three things. Days 11 through 20, start to introduce those weekly rituals. Again, you're not going to be perfect in everything that you implement. It's just get used to doing it and doing it and doing it until it gets to the point where it's unconscious. You're not even thinking about it. You're doing it great. All right. And then the third part, days 21 through 30, you incorporate those monthly habits. Okay. You do this. There's your 30-day trust building plan, y'all. You have no choice but to be successful. All right. So thanks for showing up. Appreciate you guys. If you are looking to accelerate in your careers, your respective careers, you want to be the best version of yourself. You want to get to the C-suite. You want to advance in your career. Make sure you guys like and subscribe to this channel. And if you know anybody else who could benefit from this channel, make sure you let them know about this course, or I guess this YouTube channel. Until then, I'll see you guys next time.